Hi, I'm Gia Mills and welcome to True Reflections, the podcast where my guests reflect on how they feel about their appearance when the glare of the media is upon them and what really lies beneath the surface. Don't forget to follow the podcast wherever you're watching or listening on social media. You can find us on @True Reflections Podcast. So, my guest today is a broadcaster. He runs the East of Eden PR company and is here to tell his story on how his hair transplant saved him from taking his life. If you're affected by what you hear in this conversation, please call 116-123 or visit samaritans.org.uk. But for now, please welcome to True Reflections, Nick Ede. Nick, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me. It's great to see you.
Very nice to meet you. So I'd love to go back a little bit on this podcast and find out what inspired people when they were younger, what beauty really sort of, who were the people, who were the TV shows, what were the things that beauty and aesthetically attractiveness things, I'm mumbling my words today, look like?
Well, I was really inspired by my mum. My mum had been an opera singer and actress, and she was ultra glamorous. She looked a bit similar to Elizabeth Taylor, so I had that in my house every day growing up, and everything was kind of magnified from a beauty point of view. And we used to watch all the time Dynasty, Dallas and the Colbys, so that was really something which I kind of stuck with very, very quickly. I loved all of that, and my mum wore diamonds and pearls and was always wearing Elizabeth Taylor fragrances, white diamonds, and she was just one of those people that was, obviously as a gay man growing up, you kind of got inspired by that. You love what you see, and everything I felt was very aesthetic. And so when you're watching those American shows, they're all very glossy. It's not EastEnders. We never watched that, or Coronation Street. It was all about the American soaps and that glamour, and the guys as well. They're all very good looking, very fit, very sexy, very tanned.
Who did you fancy the most?
Who did I fancy? Oh my gosh! Do you remember? Adam in the Colbys.
Yes, yeah.
I used to fancy him.
Didn't he disappear? I always fancied Dexter.
Dexter,
I
he
really
was really
fancied
hot.
Dexter.
I love that. And I just thought it was glamorous.
Yeah, it was absolutely the epitome, and I totally agree with you. I was very much way more into like the glamour of Dallas and Dynasty than EastEnders. I didn't, it lifted your spirits on a grey, dank English after evening. You just watched something so sort of spirited and otherworldly.
Well, yeah, you felt like you actually weirdly are getting the tans from them and the sun that's shining down. And I think for me, it was also that I was brought up so with my mum, we would literally every week we would go to the department store and she'd be in the makeup counter for hours getting new makeup and stuff like that. So I always used to come along with her and sort of watch it. So I was very fascinated by all of that and beauty and aesthetics from a really early age.
It's an extraordinary thing. I think department stores, they were still are, but I think they were people buy online so much now, but it's such a sort of environment of glamour. When you walked in, it was the lights and all the photographs of all the models, all the celebrities, and you just got drawn into this whole magical kingdom.
Oh my God, completely. And actually now I've got some friends who work in Edinburgh. I'm from Edinburgh, and they work at Harrods Beauty, and they're so proud. They're in the Caroline Herrera, and my friend does all the makeup, and she's literally like a superstar in Edinburgh because everybody really looks up to them. And I think people go there, it doesn't matter how you feel, as soon as you walk into those places, you feel like a bit special, and you're made to feel special by the people who are making you up and giving you a little bit of a makeover. I love that,
because I think it's so geared, those places, to women as well, which seems, it's exclusive. It used to very much exclude men. I mean, men, it definitely wasn't a place for them. But if you enjoyed that part, that world, and enjoyed that glamour, did you ever have experiences where you wanted to get involved in that and you were kind of shut out because you were a man?
I don't know if I felt that. I felt a bit embarrassed, to be honest. I just felt, I'm sort of loitering around this area, and then you'd see some guys who maybe were working actually on the counters, and you'd kind of feel a bit like, especially from a sexuality point of view, not having come out. And so obviously, thinking, is there something here? Is there not? I like this makeup. I like the fact the guys are wearing a little bit of blusher and all of those kind of things. I think now what's great is it's so much more free, and you see, straight guys, trans people, all wearing makeup, and it's fantastic to see.
It's just you are able to be who you want to be now, which I love. And you talk about tan, actually. Did you tell me any beauty fails you might have ever had in your life?
It's just the most insane story ever. So basically, I was asked to do a debate on Good Morning Britain, and every time I do it, I go on telly, I always do a little bit of a spray, the Garnier I usually put on, and then I put that spray on, and then I know that in the morning I'm going to look, nice and tanned and just kind of fresh, and it's the perfect thing to do because I feel like when they put the makeup on there, it's quite heavy and it doesn't really blend particularly well. So that's kind of what I do. So I was booked to go on. I normally get picked up at about 4 a.m. to get onto the show, and I actually got really sick, and I said to my husband, I'm really not feeling well, so we had to call an ambulance, had to go to A&E. I was stuck in A&E, and then I was calling the guys at Good Morning Britain saying, I don't think I can come in, I can't do this. And so I had ECGs, all those kind of things. Everybody said you're fine, and this was over around about 4 hours. And then the doctor came in and said, listen, we need to bring someone else in, a specialist, because we're really worried, but we don't know what it is. And basically my skin tone had completely changed, and I had gone this like golden brown, and they'd seen me sheet white. Everything was white because I obviously had something wrong with me. I was panicking, I'd been sweating, and then suddenly I got this glowing tan, these white hands, and they had no idea what was going on with me. And then I suddenly went, oh no, that's a fake tan. So literally I owe the NHS, but I couldn't even do the show. I had to quit the show on that day because I just couldn't get back. So that's there we go. Similar.
I had a bikini wax, and I had to go see a doctor once, and he had a look down there, and he was like, "Are you okay?" I went, well, what do you mean? What's wrong? He went, and he sort of stumbled. He was a very old gentleman, and he said, "What's happened to all the hair down there? Are you ill?" I went, "No, I've had wax." And he looked at me anyway.
That's great. I love that.
It's just like doctors, that tanning thing. I love that. It's like I want to look good when I'm ill.
Exactly.
So it's quite good. So yeah, men and beauty. The pressure growing up, have you felt pressure about how you look, about appearance? Is it something that's defined who you are, and if you're not looking the way you want to look, as a man, has that affected your life?
It's affected my life a lot, to be honest. I think that from a young age I wanted to be an actor, so I went to drama school, and obviously everything about drama school is about the way you look and the characters you play, but obviously you're looking at everybody, scrutinising them and wanting to feel pleasing aesthetically to people. I developed acne very, very late, so I got that from probably when I was about 18, and it was really bad. So my whole face was covered in pimples, but it was not good at all. And so people would say at drama school, you're a good looking guy, but do something about your face, or they wouldn't want to act with me because of the way that I looked, or they felt like they could get something. So it really did damage me mentally. And I had a nose job when I was very young because my septum was impacted, so it was this way rather than this way, and so it meant I couldn't really breathe particularly well. Everything was breathing through my mouth, and I got tonsillitis a lot. So I had a nose job, medical one, but unfortunately because they'd taken out the cartilage, it kind of collapsed and it went really hooky and went to kind of down to here. And I used to be on the train coming home from drama school, and all I would do is catch my reflection in the the window as you're going, and it would just upset me so much to see this. And I was like, all I wanted was a really small nose at the time, but it was just terrible. And then when my mum passed away, I was only 23, and she left some money, and most people probably would have bought a house or a car or something, and I was like, I want a nose job. And
so that was your second nose job?
That was my second one, yeah. So I was like, I'm going to have one, and I did, and it literally it was obviously very painful, and it's very crazy. It's really interesting because I went to Harley Street. I went to one of the ones where literally they give you a magazine, and it's like pick a nose. It was like a Harley Medical Clinic or one of those ones, and it was very like it was like that's not how it should be.
So that was in their 90s?
In the 90s, yeah. And it was really bad, and I could see, but you're kind of pressurised there to just say, yeah, I'll have that one, and then literally you'll be in the next couple of days. And then a friend of mine who was an actress said, you've got to meet these twins, they're called the Veal brothers, and they're on Harley Street, and they're like the best. And she said, she'd had everything done, and I won't name who that is. Disclaimer there. We'll tell you afterwards. But they were like, look, you want this small nose, but actually you've got quite a large face, and it won't aesthetically work for you. And that's what you wanted to hear. You wanted somebody to actually go, actually, I'm looking at your face. Everybody wants a button nose, but that's that's not going to actually particularly work well with how you look. So I went with them and had a nose job, and it was just fantastic. The feeling afterwards to feel not like one less thing to worry about, but I didn't have to feel those feelings or those emotions I was feeling of not looking how I wanted to look.
Because there's such this conundrum. On the one hand, aesthetics is often seen, and beauty and makeup and everything, as something so frivolous and vain. And then the other side is when it's not working for you and you don't feel right and you don't feel comfortable in your own skin, literally, it can be so debilitating and doesn't enhance life. So when people do changes, and if it is important to them and it makes them feel better, why not? Who are we to judge other people on what they decide to do with their body, with their face, if it gives them joy?
Completely. I mean, it is, to me, it's the best investment you could have. You're investing in yourself. People will buy these amazing cars and have them in their garage, to show off. But actually, to me, the most important thing is to show off about who you are and feel good. And it's like bringing some joy. I remember when I was first starting out, I wanted to be on television, and I went to meet this woman at a TV production company, and we became really good friends. And we got a little bit drunk one day, and she said, I think you'll do really well, but you need to sort your teeth out. And it's, people don't think say that anymore to you, which is great because times have changed. But again, that kind of thing really affects you because you're like, great, I've done my nose, now I've got to think about my teeth, I've got to think about, and it's just a constant thing that I think people have. Maybe they don't talk about it so much, but I think everybody does feel it in a little way.
The media, and I think for you then went on you've been very vocal about what you decided to do with your hair.
Yes.
Talk me through that, how that sort of panned out.
Well, I started losing my hair maybe about 10 years ago, and I was kind of like, actually, this is okay. But then I realised that it was kind of really getting me down. So I tried a drug called finasteride, which is basically, I got it over the counter, and it was to help you with your hair growth. And I started to get some really bad side effects from it. And one of them was suicide ideation, which I had no idea. So I was doing things in the house, and I was looking at knives and literally just going, I could just do something, self-harm, basically.
How extraordinary that a tablet that's supposed to be for your hair can do that. Because it's been quite well documented. The other day, there was a woman whose son had taken his life being on those pills, and so it's a very, very serious. Can you still buy them over the counter? You can still
buy them, yeah. And they say in their packaging it's 1%, but I wrote this article, as you know, and in that article, after that article came out, so many men contacted me to say, listen, this is not 1%, this is a lot more. I think, it's really important to highlight this to people, that they although you can get them over the counter, you can get them online. They are probably using AI to basically get it, through the system. But the biggest problem here is that you're not seeing a GP, you're not seeing an actual medical professional. And the reason why people are not seeing medical professionals is because they're embarrassed.
Yeah, all these things cost money. Yeah. Aesthetics is a very, very expensive business to get it the right people. But I've been recommended, when I recommend to, when I'm doing men and they're talking about their hair and they want, where do I go? And there's various people in Harley Street, and you have the consultation, because there's so many factors that can cause hair loss. And just going, I'm just going to do, taking a risky medication that's clinical trials are probably a bit suspect. It's a really sort of scary business, but it's expensive to get it right.
It is.
And kind of get all the tests done. So what happened? So
I came off that. I only realised after I spoke to a friend actually who said that he had the same ideation, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's why I've been feeling like this. So I obviously quit it immediately. And then after a year or so, I was like, I was looking at myself on telly and then looking at myself in the mirror, and I was using hair fibres, one called Hair Guru. It's actually very good. But again, I wasn't going out. When it rained, I literally would not even go in the rain. I was feeling so insecure about myself, and began to again hate myself, and I was putting on weight, and after lockdown I was like, this is just, I've got to change this narrative. And I was getting to 50 and I was thinking, I want to feel like I'm 35 rather than feel like I'm 65. And the only person who can do that is you. And I just kind of spoke to myself and went, right, I need to do these things. So I basically did my research, and looked at various different, obviously you go to Turkey, get it half price, but then it's one look fits all and everybody looks the same. And so I found a place called the Wimpole Clinic in Harley Street, and what was great about them was that they looked at my hairline, they said, this is how it's going to be, this is how painful it's going to be as well. And also I was very much quite adamant that I didn't want to have my head shaved. I wanted to keep my hair that was there because I had jobs to do, etc. And I didn't want people to know.
And you couldn't do hair pieces or
hair pieces. I looked at those, and again I was a bit like, they're just a lot of maintenance. And when you think about it, actually, by the time if you're wearing them all the time and over years, it probably costs the same amount as you have for a hair transplant.
I used to do a very famous Hollywood actor. I somehow found myself doing his hair pieces, and I'd never really, to start with, didn't really know how to do it, and it was a whole thing. And it's not great because you're putting glue on your head every day, and I swear it's not so good underneath the hair, the actual hair underneath, because you're kind of not letting it breathe because you've got this whole mesh. And we had like the top wig maker in the UK making these wigs, but it's really expensive. So I agree, if you can find a way to get it, invest that money in one go to get it done.
100% do it. And also, they have payment plans, etc. I said to my husband, we're not going to be able to go on holiday for a few years, like a big one. And he was like, well, that's fine. Like, this is about you investing in yourself. And so it was so important to do so. And I think what you also need to do is think about the pre and post. So I got one of those current body helmets, which is an infrared helmet, basically. I mean, it looks ridiculous.
Like the ones that were the mask for your head.
But for your head. They're absolutely brilliant. So they help stimulate the hair follicles, and I still do that today. And then I've been using NAD Plus, NAD Plus, which is my peptides, which is like literally you make it in your own body yourself, but you inject it every 3 days, and it's been really good for sort of my health of my skin and my
what physical differences, because a lot of people are talking about NAD a lot.
So good.
What are the clinical trials on that, by the way?
I think they're really strong, and because it comes from you, I think it's much better for you, but everybody is using it not for like enhancement, but it's really good for cell rejuvenation. I feel so much more energy. I'm doing the London Marathon this year again. Don't know why I'm doing it, but again, it keeps you slim, and also it's good to do it
mentally. It's so good. Which charity?
For the Stroke Association.
Fantastic.
And I've seen the difference from last year's training to this year using the NAD Plus. I feel so much more energetic. I don't feel so painful in my limbs afterwards doing the training.
Because as we're a similar age, and I think your body, you're not going through menopause, but there is an argument. People are talking
menopause,
about men. There's a name for it, for a male version. But I think, our bodies...
Andropause. Is it andropause?
Something like that, yeah. But I think our bodies aren't quite what they were.
No.
And having any supplements that can help keep the body in the similar shape that you're used to, from a sort of not from a cellular point of view, as well as how you're feeling, because your muscles, when you're doing the marathon, blimey, I did it, it's just brutal on your body.
It's brutal, isn't it? And the other thing I've decided more, and we talk about beauty being outside, but actually so much more is inside. It's what you intake. Is I've been literally doing loads of research on supplements, and then I found this one which is called IM8, which is David Beckham's one, which is just amazing. I mean, it's expensive, but I was talking to a clinical scientist who was talking to me about how athletes would have their vitamins and minerals, and this literally gives you every single one. And one of the most important things it does, it really helps regulate your gut, and that's so important, especially as we get older, to make sure that we're looking after that, because that's our second brain, isn't it? So
yeah, and it has such an effect on your brain goes. It's like when you're nervous, you can feel it in your gut, and it's completely. Just the connection between the two is phenomenal.
I'm a massive, not worrier, but I get anxiety and my gut. But since I've been taking these things, and I feel like it's much, much better.
Oh, I've got to check it out, because I think one can take a lot of supplements and being really careful, what you take, because everyone has got a supplement. They're like, I swear by this.
Yeah.
And you could just be like all rattling around with hundreds of different powders and all sorts of things inside your body, and it's just being careful what you take.
And you've got to understand that, and especially as you get older, like, I have to take thyroxine, I have to take statins, and for cholesterol, but it's hereditary, so I can't do anything about it. But again, you want to feel as healthy as possible, so that's why it's good doing the marathon. But you also want to make sure your recovery is good, and also that these drugs that you're taking don't impinge on the other drugs, supplements that you're taking. So you have to be really aware of everything that your body is ingesting.
And did you find when you'd had your transplant done, how did that make you feel when the healing had happened and you were like, the first day you were like, okay?
It's been a year now, and honestly, it's just changed so much. It's made me happy. It's made me happy inside. I feel the fear of going out in the rain. Like now, literally, I will go out in the rain and I'm fine. Like that is such a small thing, but to think about, I've been hiding that for,
you wouldn't be able to go out years. From like,
exactly
all year because it's not stop raining.
I know, and being having pictures taken or being on camera, it's just changed so much, and I'm getting more work from it, weirdly, because I'm more confident, and so what I'm giving out is so much better. And also I've lost like 2 stone because I've been running, and I feel confident, and I want to look good, and I want to be an advocate for over 50s men and say, listen, we've got this great many years ahead of us, and let's look and feel absolutely fabulous.
It sounds like you've got that sort of LA sort of vibe. It's kind
LA,
of,
but
like
I don't manifest. That's the only thing I don't do. Do you know, I'm a realist. I'm actually a realist. I feel that we are behind in the UK. I think in the US, people do look after themselves more. But I do also think that, when we're looking at Instagram, we're looking at all these things, and it does depress you a bit, because our algorithms will show up the hottest guys or Timothée Chalamet, and we're like, oh, I wish we could look like that, and we don't. Or Jacob Elordi and Wuthering Heights.
Yeah.
I mean, but that comes up all the time. But actually, with fashion and with male beauty and with fitness and exercise, we can look good. And you look at people like Brad Pitt or George Clooney or Mark Wahlberg, who are in their 50s and 60s. These are men who I aspire to look like and be like, because they're fantastic, and we could all do that.
I know, totally. And I think, you've probably sort of worked with lots of people from LA, and the aesthetic is it's like they're very serious about the aesthetic. And you also Meghan used to be friends with Meghan Markle back in the day, because obviously she's got her sort of whole lifestyle wellness stuff now. How have you seen her evolve over the years?
I think it's really interesting. I think when I met her, she actually had the TIG, and the TIG was her sort of her version of Goop, Gwyneth Paltrow's website. So she was giving her top tips on beauty and lifestyle, and I feel now that's actually what she's gotten back to with As Ever. I think she is an absolutely beautiful woman, and I think one of the things I do have to say is I find the styling that she has is not particularly great for her. Her clothes. I think that somebody needs to help her. I think she's good friends with Emma Grede now, obviously, who created Good American Clothing, so maybe they're going to do some clothing together. But I think she's absolutely gorgeous. She's a real Californian girl, isn't she?
Yeah. And have you seen her, does she seem to have changed as a person? Is there much, because she gets such not great publicity. Do you think that's something that's warranted? Because it's so the media's so tough on people.
Yeah, the media are really tough on her. I think she's a very smart person, and I think she knows exactly what she's doing. And we were pretty good friends, and then there was a time when it was like, that's it. And, people talk about how she cuts people out her lives, and you kind of sort of left there. And that's the reason why people do that, is because they want to get to the next step, or you're not needed in that time. And although that can hurt, I'm also somebody who goes, well, that's life. I've probably done that to some people in my life too. So it's just the way of the world. But I think that her personality, hopefully, since all this has died down with regards to the royal family, I think for her now, it's about creating her own brand, and hopefully that's what she'll do. I think I don't think she's got great people around her. I think that she must be pretty stubborn and wants to go her own way. We've seen she's lost like 11 PRs in quite a few years. I mean, that's a lot of people to lose, and there must be a reason behind it. So hopefully now that she's got, I think, some other people around her, that'll be the last of the cull. Yeah,
because she is a bit of an icon with that kind of wellness thing, and it's sort of whether we believe her or not, that you need that authenticity. Like Martha Stewart, we know, was a caterer and a chef and cooked, and and it's believable. And I think we want you, if you're selling that stuff, you need to have that authenticity.
Oh, completely. It's all about earning your stripes. It's having the knowledge, having the actually going through the highs and lows and being honest about that, and showing maybe not so much gloss. I think somebody who's done it really well is Pamela Anderson, actually. You know, she's shown this real vulnerability, and even like the no makeup and having that really sort of changed everybody's opinion of her, because I think people had this idea of her as CJ in Baywatch for so many years, then suddenly to come back as this absolutely beautiful woman who really just is embracing her age was really refreshing. And so the difference between her and Meghan is that we've seen this, and it's someone who admits it and talks about it. With Meghan, we don't really know what's behind it, and I think that authenticity is really important as people move forward with brands.
Do you think that sort of well-known faces, celebrities now, if they really want to kind of resonate with an audience, they need to expose it sort of metaphorically more about them, more of themselves in a more real way, and have those flaws and not be too perfect?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I think, you know, I mean, I love the Kardashians, and I think they recently posted a picture of the girls just having fun, and it was such a great thing to see these girls just fooling around as we'd seen them maybe 20 years ago, and it makes them more authentic, it makes them more likeable, and you suddenly realise, actually, I will go and buy a Kylie lip kit, or I will go and get this. I think there is some talent, and people like Molly May is very interesting, you know, that she's kind of become so authentic and people really buy into her brand. And I think, you know, also what's her name, Baldwin, completely got out of my head, Hailey Baldwin, you know, with Road Beauty, again, you felt that she had invested in that, and that was something that she was really, really positive. And the other person who I think has really changed, and I'm sure she's been looking at Trini, because Trini London I think is brilliant, is Victoria Beckham. The way that Victoria Beckham has turned around that business by actually just being the face of her beauty brand and doing these little tutorials and having someone like Harper with her has really made her much more authentic and likeable, and people trust her, and that's why her makeup is a huge seller now and her biggest seller.
Well, I have a very small makeup brand, and when I talked to my media agency and the social guys, I was like, you've got to do it, and I'm like, I just don't like doing it. And it's so hard though to do it, because how you feel when you turn that camera around on yourself, because I've always done makeup on other people and stuff, and when you turn it around on yourself, it's hard to get in the groove of doing it. And you know that actually people do want to just hear the story, the realness.
Yeah. And
yes, you can have all these pretty pictures, you can do nice shoots, or use AI now, which everyone seems to be using. But actually, when you're sitting there talking and having, you know, you kind of might have a sort of a red nose from a cold, or you might just not be looking, you're a bit tired, and people are like, oh, thank goodness, you're just it's just real and genuine, and people giving their thoughts. And I think that's where things seem to go. And as long as people can feel, sense when it's genuine.
Yeah.
And so I think, because you work with a lot of talent, so do you advise them to keep it real? Yeah,
I think so. I mean, listen, I think pop stars are very different, because they're all about the sort of the vision of them, you know, whether it's a Kylie Minogue or a Gaga or whoever, you know, you look at them, they're up on a pedestal. But when it's actors, or when it's sort of talent, reality talent, then you feel that they do need to be more realistic. And then that's how you see people like Olivia Attwood, who've become huge stars because they've just been honest about themselves, and that's kind of quite refreshing. I think I do love gloss and glamour, and I do think that it's great to have some Hollywood stars that you never know exactly what they're going to be looking like behind closed doors. I think that aesthetic's fabulous too.
So what, like the big question then is, what products do you use? What are the stuffs that your go-to products these days?
Well, my go-to Touché Èclat obviously is just so good for these little under eyes, and I just think for any kind of blemish, I've been using that literally since probably it was created.
It was early 90s, wasn't it?
90s.
Everyone, all those makeup fails.
All the makeup fails.
I mean, under eye
the
white.
Panda look, yeah, exactly. But now I just think it's absolutely brilliant. The other one is Ebo Beauty, which is a really small brand, but they do these amazing seasonal face oils. And it's just brilliant, and it's all botanicals. So you have the winter one, the spring one, the summer, autumn, and they're just 4 really nice oils. So I get them obviously every 3 months, or you change, and they make your skin really dewy, make it really, really nice. And I just feel like for my neck, obviously you get older, your neck, I just feel it's really fabulous, and I put a tiny bit on in the day because obviously it does get a little bit greasy, those oils, and then in the evening I just put it on.
And often it's the smell and the feel is just as nice.
Because you need that aroma, like makes you feel like good and
it's all the senses.
Sexy. Not greasy, but sexy.
A little bit of nice oil before I hop into bed.
And the current body, I'd say, because that's beauty inside. But the mask, I've got the mask that does the neck and the mask that does, although it's
current
broken.
Is that one of the
current
lights?
Body, yeah. And the lights, the red lights, and then they've got the helmet one is just amazing. I mean, I look ridiculous.
Can the helmet one work for women as well,
yes.
like menopausal women who are starting to lose their hair?
Yeah, my friend swears by it.
Amazing.
And they're brilliant. And
what any other makeup that or skincare products?
Beef tallow. Now, beef tallow...
Talk to me about beef tallow.
Well, I didn't know anything about it. And then a friend of mine from America said, this is this amazing thing called beef tallow, which is basically... So it's beef tallow and honey. Mm-hmm. And it's a really thick, like, moisturiser. And it is thick. You can really... you almost feel like you're painting it on. But it just goes on so smoothly. And it's so good for your skin and for your, like, fine lines that I would highly recommend it.
Is there any brand to get, or is it just natural?
I actually can't remember the brands, but it's natural. You can get them on Amazon. Like, it's literally... It's kind of, I mean, I think maybe you and I should actually come up with a whole beef tallow brand because it's very bit archaic at the moment. It's a bit, you feel like you're like looking at a country and western brand. Yeah. It's very like buffaloes and
it's like that hoof cream, the horse hoof stuff.
Yes.
And I read you also use patches, like those transdermal patches.
They're amazing.
Tell me about those.
Patches, they're absolutely brilliant. I mean, you've got the weight loss one, you've got the GLP one, you've got there's a NAD one, you've got the vitamin C, you've got the sleep one. And I think it's really interesting because if people want to start just to see whether these things could work potentially, the patch is a really good way to go about it.
Because we have, I have for my brand, we've got energy patches. So it's transdermal. You put them on, and it releases a little bit of caffeine, green tea, and some antioxidants and stuff. But it's great because it's continuous. Because you're leaving it on your skin as a sticker. Yeah. It means that it's slow release. Yeah. So it's not like one hit. Because often with certain vitamins, how they work. Okay. It can be just one hit and that's it when you put it in your system, and then you kind of, it doesn't stay in the system, whereas the patches, it's just like a slow thing. But I love hearing, not many people talk about it, but we developed some because I thought it'd be really interesting, but it's lovely to hear someone else is using them. And which are your
patches they're called. They're brilliant. They're absolutely fantastic. And the sleep one is just so good. It's got magnesium in it, and it just obviously just makes you feel really good. And there's a beauty one, and I swear by them. I think they're fantastic. My husband, though, is hilarious. He literally has them all up his arm. I'm like, people are going to think that you've got some weird problem here. And then one day,
lots of colours, aren't
with lots of colours. But one day he didn't realise that we were on holiday, and I put them on his back, and he didn't realise, and I kind of didn't realise he's sunbathing. So he took them off, and he had this really weird, like it looked like molecules on his back.
Strange tan marks. I love that. Well, Nick Ede, thank you so much for coming in. It's been really interesting. Lots of lovely things to talk about, and I think brilliant for men to be hearing this because they need their moment in the sun to kind of like beauty and men and aesthetics is so important. Thank you, a massive thank you for coming in. That's it for True Reflections this week. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you are watching or listening. You can find me across your social media by searching @True Reflections Podcast. You can explore also my Skin and Motion cosmetics range to help boost your confidence at skin.in.motion. I'll be back next week with another celebrity to talk through their beauty experiences, their favourite products, and delve deeper into how the ideals of beauty shapes not just our physical appearance, but also the core of our identities. Until then, have a lovely week.